Well, I think that we've been through so many times. I mean, the 70s and 80s, there was incredible cooking, but there was also the dark times where, everything was boned out and you got a chicken breast and a piece of sliced orange and parsley on your plate. And we forgot about the food that women cooked at home with bones and stocks and just, food of people without so much means. So so a simple cooking of old-fashioned cooking of peasants, food of Lancashire even. So you haven't got much time. You've got to put your knuckles and your bones and vegetables in a pot in the stove. You go out, you work all day and you come home and that's what you eat. Because, but in restaurants, I feel it's magnificent what's happening at the moment. There's such a desire to look at different cultures, to look at the food of what women, what everyone's cooking, and then bring it into a more restaurant way. I mean, I was at Paradise last night, and they're cooking Sri Lankan food, but they've refined it. It's quite fancy. But I felt it had the flavours and texture. It was really great. It was exciting. But for me also, I could have much more plain food. But I love it that it was fancy and glamorous, and it's in a small space. And they're looking at how they pay their rents and all these things. There's so much that comes into what a dish is going to be, and people nowadays, they like it fancy, and what's one of the favourite lines people always say, oh, I could do that at home. Well, go and do it.
Yeah, good luck.
Do it. Don't come out and complain to me, and do it every day. And what the chefs are doing, they're in the kitchen every day cooking these dishes over and over again, and to sustain that energy and love for what you're doing, it's difficult as well. And, well, our kitchen's very hot. We don't have,
yeah, so that's an interesting point. So how have you, because you've been in business, I think I have such admiration for people who are in business for a long time, and you've been doing this for a long time. How have you kept the joy day to day kind of alive? As you said, it's kind of changed so much. It's been up, down, dark days, light days. How have you kind of thread through that like a consistent, keeping the joy alive? And yeah.
Well, I love Rochelle Canteen. I used to have a catering business with Melanie Arnold, my partner, as well. And we love that as well, but we don't do that anymore. And it is wonderful not carting things around and just that whole side of the business, working for very demanding people. Fair enough, they're paying a lot of money, but we've focused, we're really looking at Rochelle now, and we're really excited about it. I think, the season changing, I know that's what everyone says, but, we're so excited about the produce now that's coming in, always trying to work at how we can be better. Our chefs, I'm not the head chef, so am I always excited about who is the head chef at the time. There's always stuff to be working on, making better. Everything's, it's just the dramas of every day. Building your customers, the front of house, all those things. And I love business. I love plotting, trying to work out how we can make this better, even on a tarsier floor with the rain coming in, thinking, oh my God, these poor people. But it's dynamic. It's, we're inspired all the time by new books that come out, reading. Instagram I even find quite inspiring.
Yeah, it's great, yeah.
I quite like
I was speaking to somebody.
I love foodie Instagram.
Oh, it's so good. But I was speaking to a designer the other week on the podcast, and I was like, is it easier to be creative almost before the smartphone because there was less distractions, like WhatsApp and stuff? It was like, fuck no. Like now I go on Instagram and I can get ideas from literally everywhere at the touch of my thing. We almost take it for granted how...
You have a cooking lesson while you're watching telly.
I know. Well, the worst is when I sometimes watch a cookery programme on TV, but then I'm on my phone watching it. It's like, I need to chill out.
Yeah, I need to. I'm a bit of an addict.
Yeah, I love it. Just once I get into the wormhole, though, I can't...
You can't stop.
I can't stop. And then
it is terrible. And they're also managing us these people who own it. I mean, you know, when you say, I mean, Bones, I'm sure I can get a whole lot of something on. But I don't like it how they're organising it and managing it.
Well, that was the other week. I was in Lisbon in my mates. I went to work from Lisbon for like 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, I love Lisbon.
We
were there recently.
Yeah, we'll talk about that actually. But make unbelievable city, so good, so cheap as well. It's mad. £6 for an Uber from the airport, but
and beautiful food.
Oh, the food's insane. But to your point, is they were talking about. I went into my mate's. Didn't even talk about it into my mate's bathroom, and one of the sprays they had in there came up on my Instagram feed. I was like, we hadn't even talked about it. Do you know what I mean? I was kind of like, is there something in the Lisbon air here?
That's scary.
It's absolutely mad.
Yeah.
But talk to me about Lisbon because I've been there. I was actually thinking of potentially living out there just because it's so. There's loads of freelancers there basically. But talk to me about your time there. Like what?
We just went out for anyway, I'm so bad.
I can't pronounce anything. Don't worry.
Anyway, it's a brilliant restaurant out there. They only do pig and small. I mean, one of my favourite things they did was a roast potato with fermented with a pork stock, which they'd reduced down, but not till it was jam. So it was, it was gentle, and then they had a fermented pepper sort of liquor going through it as well. And it was, you can't get simpler than that, and it was beautiful. But they asked Fergus and I out for pig culling, and we saw this lovely 10-kilo pig who'd been living on this lovely farm. She was slaughtered very beautifully, I must say, under a tree on the grass. And then the butcher, he gutted her, and we then ate. Not her, but because they needed to hang it. But all these chefs came together. We made faggots, of course. And they were very, very awfully. And then this little girl came up and said, "Oh, can I have one of your faggots?" And I was like, "No, you won't like this," because they're quite awfully. She ate it in 5 seconds. I tell you, the Portuguese love their offal. We had blood soup, which I have to say, maybe I needed to work on a field that day. You needed a fork to eat it with. It was so rich. I had.
You're right to come in. In fact, if I push that.
That's right.
Paul, sorry, my fault. Yeah, towards you. Yeah, bang, perfect. That's crazy. So were you? Because was Hector out there? Your son was he out there with you?
Yeah.
And was it like just loads of chefs came together for this one old restaurant?
We're all cooking in this incredible farm. It's quite, they leave lots of it to wilding, I suppose you'd say. I mean, I don't know the actual technique. It started raining when we were going to do the tour. But they have very few animals, as little as they can. They kill few now. I mean, it's very nice if you can afford that, isn't it? I mean, a lot of farmers wouldn't be able to afford that. But still, it's a beautiful thing. And they have this huge room, big hall, where they do a lot of dinners and ask guest chefs and things. The whole environment was amazing, and a lot of winemakers came. And I do think Portuguese wine is where it's so delicious, and it's really happening. And it's now we look into places like Portugal where we're saying, look at their food, look how exciting it is. And it's not just this layer, it's like, let's look at it deeply and understand their culture through the food, through what the women even cook. That's coming into the restaurants. It's not some idea of, they've got fine dining, but it's Portuguese, and it makes sense, doesn't it? It's not just French, though I love French food.
Yeah.
All that sail with her, and I am worried for France because I think they're losing their food culture.